Hello, welcome to another episode of This, That, and the Other. Today I'm going to be talking about the history of the Saturn car, why the car is defunct now. It was established on January 7th, 1985 as a subsidiary of General Motors, and it was an attempt by GM to compete with the Japanese imports initially in the U.S. compact car market. July 30th, 1990, the first Saturn was built, a red 1991 model year Saturn SL2. The first Saturn dealership opened in Memphis, Tennessee. Saturn Corporation was launched as a different kind of car company, and Saturn even had its own unique car models. And they had their own dealerships that were separate from the rest of GM. The project turned out to be too ambitious, as everything at Saturn was new: the car, the plant, the workforce, the dealer network, and the manufacturing process. No other car company tackled more than two items on a single project. While popular with buyers, actual sales never met the projected targets, in part because of the early 1990s recession. Being separated from the rest of this GM parent company, it drained $5 billion from other car projects, stirred discontent with GM's other divisions, also opened at a considerably higher cost than the Japanese transplants, factories that Japanese automakers established in the United States. The brand was immediately known for its no-haggle prices. The first model, the S Series, was successful. A year later, it entered the Canadian market in 1993. 500,000th car, Carla, was built in May 1995. 1 millionth car entered the market. In 1996, Saturn dealerships distributed the electric GM EV1. The first electric car released under the GM brand in 1997 became the first General Motors North American vehicle to be fully built with right-hand drive on the same assembly lines as left-hand drive vehicles. The previous right-hand drive GM North American vehicles were built in countries with a left-hand road rule using a knockdown kit, customized dashboard, and steering components as it entered the Japanese market. January 1999, it rolled out its 2 millionth car. Also that year, began production on the all-new L Series of the 2000 model year. By the time it was launched in Japan, the Japanese economy was already in a sharp decline following the 1990 collapse of the Japanese asset price bubble. Their first crossover SUV was introduced in 2001 for the 2002 model year as the VUE, based on a globally used GM design. 2003, it introduced the Ion as a replacement for this S Series. 2004, for the 2005 model year, began selling the Relay, a minivan, and the first Saturn based on similar models from other GM brands. Same year, L Series was discontinued. The Sky Roadster was introduced in 2006 as a 2007 model. 2006 for the 2007 model year, the Aura midsize sedan made its way to dealerships alongside the Outlook, a larger CUV than the View. In 2006, last year that the Ion was produced, the Ion was replaced by the European-built Astra in 2008. During the 2008 North American International Auto Show, Saturn revealed its extreme concept vehicle, which was a rebadged Opel Flexstream. Saturn was believed to have had a disagreement with GM, and it was not very accepting of the company's closing. In 2004, GM and the United Auto Workers dissolved their labor contract for the Spring Hill manufacturing plant, allowing Saturn operations to be integrated with the rest of GM. On December 2nd, 2008, General Motors announced its intention to focus on the four core brands: Chevrolet, Buick, Cadillac, and GM, with the sale, consolidation, or closure of Saturn and the remaining brands, Pontiac, Hummer, and Saab, with Oldsmobile having already discontinued production in 2004. General Motors chairman And former CEO Rick Wagner announced during a news conference on February 17, 2009, the Saturn would remain in operation through the end of the planned life cycle for all Saturn products, 2010-2011. February 2009, GM declared its intent to part with this brand by closing or selling division as part of restructuring plans dependent on the receipt of a second round of government loans. It was a third such auction for GM in the 21st century, following those Oldsmobile, which ceased production in 2004, and Pontiac, which ended production for the 2010 model year by the end of 2009. General Motors announced in June 2009 that it was selling the Saturn brand to Penske Automotive Group. Penske was not planning to buy the factory, so would eventually have had to contract other car companies to build the cars sold as Saturns. GM would have built the Aura, View, and Outlook for Penske for the first 2 years. To replace the GM brand's manufacturer, Penske was in discussions with several global automakers, including Renault, Samsung Motors of Korea, and the Renault-Nissan Alliance. On September 30, 2009, Penske entered a deal with General Motors because Penske was not finding another manufacturer to manufacture the Saturn cars. So, February 2010, GM announced that it was offering existing Saturn owners up to $2,000 incentives to purchase a new Chevrolet, Buick, Cadillac, or GMC vehicle until March 31st. Customers required to have owned their Saturns for at least 6 months and were not required to trade them in to be eligible for the incentives. Saturn's last vehicle models were the Saturn Aura, the Saturn Outlook, the Sky, and the Saturn View. GM had continued to produce the Aura, the Outlook, and the Sky and the View in the 2000 model year. 2012, General Motors rebadged and reintroduced the discontinued Saturn View as the 2012 Chevrolet Captiva Sport. The Captiva Sport was mostly unchanged from the discontinued Saturn View. The Captiva Sport did not have a hybrid version, however, like the View did. GM ended Saturn production on October 7, 2009, and ended its outstanding franchises on October 31st, 2010. So that's basically what ended up happening to Saturn, and kind of interesting story on that company. I do remember the cars being around. I never actually owned one or ever drove one, so I really don't know much about the cars. They were interesting they had an interesting appearance, let me put it that way. And like I've said before, I'm looking for more ideas on shows to do on preserving history, especially obscure aspects of history. If it's feasible, something I can research, I'll put one together and do it. I was reading stuff off of the internet in different articles on this to try to put things together. I'm trying to get away from that. It just doesn't sound right when I look at the videos. But hopefully the next one I can just kind of like get a better mental picture of the whole story, and just kind of recite it from memory. And as I've said, like, subscribe, share. As always, thanks for watching.